At Lodha, our greatest aim is to leave the smallest carbon footprint to ensure a better life for generations to come. We build more than just structures. We build a sustainable future. Lodha Net Zero Urban Accelerator, established with RMI, demonstrates that growth decoupled from emissions is possible. Lodha is accelerating India's 2070 net zero goal. Our buildings have the lowest embodied carbon footprint, 4 times penetration of super efficient equipment. Electricity in our operations is from renewable sources. Our Palava City, a model of sustainable urbanization, serves as a living lab for the accelerator, enabling innovative and scalable market-based solutions. The thriving community of residents experience about 2 degrees cooler surroundings, 30% lower energy footprint. Together, let's build a prosperous net zero carbon future for all.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I am On Abdullah. I'm from India's second largest real estate company called Lodha. We are a full spectrum real estate developer, all the way from residential, commercial, industrial, and data parks. Palava is our flagship city development. I should start with why we have built this project. 15% of global growth is coming from India, and India's growth is leading us into an unprecedented scale of urbanization. We expect that close to 100 million households will become home ownership capable in next 10 years. So it is going to unleash a level of urbanization that is never before seen in the world. But urbanization brings carbon emissions, urbanization adds to climate risk, and it also adds to the challenges in energy security. So we have to build in a manner that we can sustain it. This is what happens when such an urbanization push comes. This is a typical photo from Mumbai. Livability challenges, housing quality is not good. People don't care for the commons, and they're always choked. And they're always on choked streets. So we decided that we will have to do something about it because it cannot continue to be so. And we envisioned a city called Palava. And we took 4 goals. The primary goal was that we will make a city which will be amongst one of the top 50 livable cities in the world. It will be environmentally sustainable, high quality housing, and we will govern it in an inclusive manner through citizen councils where people will take care of the commons like they take care of their homes. And it will be a walkable city. 5, 10, 15 neighborhood principle will be the guiding factor for designing the city. The city had to be a template for India, and a template cannot be a small project, so it had to be big. We envisioned that we will be earmarking 4,500 acres of land, and the ultimate population of the city will be 1 million. We have already completed a few initial phases, and the current population in the city is 200,000. So these are some photos of the city. It shows how the neighborhoods are planned. They are all within this 5, 10, 15 circle. Each circle comprises of close to 4,000 to 7,000 homes. There are lots of greens. We have preserved lots of greens, and we have incorporated a lot of greens. The retail is also interspersed all across the city, so there is enough walkability. People come and come onto the vibrant streets. There is shared mobility, non-motorized transit corridors as part of the overall city design. And then, as I said, the initial focus on sustainability on this city was livability, wellness, and resource conservation. And in resource conservation, the primary thing is passive design. The whole city is oriented right because we had the opportunity. So there is a lot of passive shading also on the streets as well as within the courtyards. And then on active side, we had been incorporating various elements, passive and active, including giving super efficient appliances even in affordable homes, which has led to one of the a very impressive energy use profile within the city. A typical home in Palava has a median EPI of 40 kilowatt hour per square meter per year, which is quite impressive, and we are still trying to push it down. There is a lot of solar within the city. All the amenities have been maximized with as solar hubs. 100% of water is treated and reused. We have also protected the existing wetlands and lakes. The water is also metered, and the data is also conveyed to the customers. The entire waste is also handled within the city. And beyond this, we also have lots of arts and culture incorporated, and lots of social infrastructure through schools, sports facilities, etc. And then obviously we have a top-notch city governance. It doesn't, and where the citizens are also involved. But 4 to 5 years back, we came together with RMI. They are a US-based think tank on climate and energy. And we started to redefine sustainability for Palava. And in this redefinition process, we brought climate risks as central, and we created a strategy built on resilience and decarbonization, basically handling adaptability and mitigation, physical risks and climate risks. And what it led to was, it added a few parameters which were originally not in our agenda, like embodied carbon reduction, like use of climate risk data and so forth. So these are the newer things that came into how we design. And we then decided that we'll form a net zero urban accelerator, which will use Palava as a living lab to come up with this information that can guide how urbanization is done all across. And the data is available for everybody. So on decarbonization, we very quickly, we broke down the carbon emission spectrum of the built environment into its component parts. We decided as to what are the areas that we have to work upon, and if we are able to squeeze on each of these boxes, we can sort of get a net zero trajectory for the city. We did a carbon stacking, we did a baselining. We did a baselining for embodied carbon as well as operational carbon. We did a life cycle analysis to see, in what proportion it is. And once we had those numbers, we also became the first real estate company in India to set long-term net zero targets with SBTi. So we have a 2030 target of 50% reduction and a 2050 1.5 degree ambition target. In doing so, then we created this, the carbon stack on embodied carbon side as well as on the operational carbon side to really understand that where is most of the carbon lying and what can we do about it. We started working with our supply chain so we had already optimized on the design efficiencies, but we wanted to optimize also on the materials. So we started working with our supply chain, and we have been using a lot of greener concrete mixes across the project, and we are also exploring certain construction technologies which help us dematerialize and bring the carbon down. We have been working with the steel supply chain as well, because that's a very key component in the embodied carbon. We have a paper on this also, if interested people can see. India has a very data scarce, opaque supply chain. So we are working with all of them to bring them on board on this decarbonization journey. On the operational side, we created our own 4 concentric circle framework where we say that the entire energy is basically 4 things. The ambient, then inside the ambient it is the envelope, and inside the envelope it is the equipment, and behind the equipment is the user. So if we are able to attack all of these 4 areas, we can bring down the energy needs as... So we started with a heat mapping exercise. On left side you see Palava, on right side you see the nearby development. It's 3 degrees cooler than what it was before. We did a lot of site measurements to see how we can maximize on the right materials to beat the urban heat, and how we can have more and more lighter and more reflective surfaces within the city. We also started to understand how people use energy. So we did a lot of surveys to figure out how individuals are using energy, and then how can that be brought back into how we make design decisions. So this is a sensorization of an active apartment where we are really trying to understand that how much is going in cooling, how much is going in heating, and so forth. We are also trying to develop a marketplace for efficient equipments for within these residential users. We are aggregating the demand, and we are also doing various awareness campaigns around it. We are also helping next generation technology development. So this is a photograph of the global cooling prize air conditioning test setup within the city. We are trying to do community solar integration. We already have close to 10 megawatts of solar within the city, and we are further expanding. Our mobility strategy within the city is basically 3 steps: walkability, shared mobility, and electrification. We are trying to now create a baseline of its impact like we did for embodied carbon and operational carbon. So this city then acts as a real basis from which the performance can be, a better performance can be cut out. On resilience, obviously you saw in the earlier slides, we had been doing everything on water conservation and urban heat and everything, but what we have done differently now is we have started to consider climate impact drivers and use climate data for infrastructure design. So we use global climate models, we run them on IPCC scenarios, and we generate synthetic data that we can use for infrastructure design. So these are certain charts which you see for the past and future, and these are the IDF curves. So these are the ones which we use in our infrastructure design, because the city is going to last longer than this whole transition piece. All this has helped us to perform at the top of various benchmarks. We are #1 in GRESB and so forth. We are one of the largest portfolio in IGBC also. Now I think 56 million square foot is certified and 18 million square foot is under process. The largest bulk of it actually comes from Palava. It's such a huge development that it has many certifications. So there are so many parcels which are certified platinum and gold. So I will end now with this point. That what is Palava doing? Palava is not just a simple green building or a green development. India has 300 billion odd US dollars worth of real estate, of which only 30% is built by developers, of which only 30% is built by developers with capacity, who understand the policy and regulation. So the catchment of policy is that. And it will always remain very difficult that if only 5-10% of the business is in control of the policies and regulations, what can be done? So what we are trying to do through our scale at Palava is we are trying to catalyze it through the market. We are trying to go beyond the project, and we are trying to attack it at the larger national and geographic level. And we hope that through these market-based solutions, we will be able to bring about the change. And through a project like Palava, we will be able to offer a template that can then become a basis of future of urbanization in India, which is going to be unprecedented. So that's it. Thank you.